Welcome to the Selling in the Motor Trade podcast, in association with Simco Training. This is the weekly podcast where we share best practice, tips and ideas on how to sell more cars, improve your service department, and generally put more profit into your dealership or dealer group. I'm your host, Simon Bowkett. Now, some of you probably already know me as Skippy. I would start by saying thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast.
And look at a format, not a script, a format of how to deal with an incoming telephone inquiry. Please don't use any of these words word for word. You'll sound like a cheesy Aussie. Take the idea, take the meaning, twist it and change it, make it right for you. Because also, the dealership or the dealer group you're working with, they might have a different process to what we're talking about. You might have someone dealing with the incoming telephone inquiries and all the bookings, or you may deal with them yourself. Still, have a listen to this module and see how it can work on so many different parts of the sales process. Now let's start off with by answering the phone. Okay, you're going to say stage one is good morning, good afternoon, this is Simon speaking, how can I help? But this is really important. If you've got a receptionist who's taken the customer's name, please use the customer's name. There's nothing worse that the receptionist takes the call, they ask for the customer's name and they say it's Mr. Andrews. It gets transferred to you and then you say, sorry, what was your name? It's still Mr. Andrews. So if you know it's Mr. Andrews, say, hi, is it Mr. Andrews, is it? Yeah, this is Simon. Oh, here's something else you might want to try. I don't fully know why this works, but it does work. If you use your full name, hi, this is Simon Bowkett, they're more likely just to volunteer their name. But if you say this is just Simon in after sales or Simon in service or Simon in parts, somehow they'll just go into what they're looking for. Not really sure why it works, but you might want to try that one. Now, if you're like me though, I got a name that I get tongue-tied on, okay, Bowkett. It's a bit weird, okay, so I don't tend to use it all the time. But you decide for yourself, okay? So good morning, good afternoon, Simon speaking, how can I help? Now let's have a look at stage two. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to ask about the source of inquiry. This is for two reasons though. I'm going to start off by saying, well, have you used our dealership before? Now if they haven't, we can ask how did they hear about us? Or if they have, welcome them back. Isn't that what a good hotel does? If you've been there before, they'll say, oh, have you been here before, sir? Yes, we have. Well, welcome back. Let's do the same thing. That's why I'm going into the source inquiry now. Because if they have been here before, it's going to make your qualification so much easier. Now let's look at the next stage for a customer who's new to the business. You need to further qualify information about their car and what they're looking for. Kind of like this. Can I ask you what model of car do you have? And what type of service do you require today? Can I ask you what service was completed previously? And was it the main dealer who serviced that car? Now, is the car privately owned by yourself? And finally, are there any other issues with the vehicle other than the routine service that we need to look at? Now, of course, if the customer is not new to us, they're a repeat customer, we can get a lot of that qualifying information just by taking their registration number. So we might adapt this stage to, can I just take the registration number of your car? Now at this stage, reconfirm the details are correct on the system. That is the XYZ model, isn't it, sir? Now, if it's not on the system, go through the details. Is that the petrol or diesel, the manual, automatic, etc. Just like they're a new customer. But you know what? You should have those on your system. Now, at those stages, you might need to qualify further to what the customer's looking for. If they mention they've got some other issue with the car other than the routine service, this is where your qualification and diagnosis techniques are going to come in. We'll talk about those in some separate modules later on. If not, we need to talk about what service and build value in the service that we need to sell them. So let's have a look at this next stage. Now, based on mileage and age of your vehicle, you require the 50,000 mile service. Now, the work complete on the service would be the oil filter and the oil change. Now, of course, at this point, I want you to include everything else that your manufacturer recommends for that particular service. Also, as a main Ford or main Toyota dealer, we're going to complete a full diagnosis, ensure all the manufacturer upgrades have been completed, and carry out a free health check on all safety-related items. Finally, on returning your car, we'll ensure that there's a full wash and vac is completed. Now, this next stage is specifically for the price shopping customer. You know, the customer phones up and says, what's the price of the 50,000 mile service for the XYZ car? You know they want to satisfy their first law of sales, and that's the law of comparison. If you just give them a price, it's unlikely you're going to book the service there and then. They're going to hang the phone up and phone the next dealership. We need to satisfy their need for comparison in a different way. Let me show you how we could try that. The good news is we occasionally run service offers for all of our customers. And for this month, we have an offer on the Toyota XYZ model. The normal price of that service would be £379. But the good news is there's a further customer saving, which brings that down to $349. Now, do you require a loan car or a collection and delivery? So let's have a look at what I've done there. Firstly, I've attempted to satisfy the customer's need for comparison. Remember the first law of sales, the need for comparison? And we've done that by saying the price of the service is normally X amount, but we've got a further customer saving of Y. But then I've gone straight into booking the service, or assumptively booking the service. I haven't said, do you want to book it in for a service? Because what's the possible answers? It's yes, no, or worse, I'll get back to you. Now, of course, that's code for I'm going to keep shopping around until I get the lowest price I can. By actually saying, do you require a courtesy car or collection and delivery? It's very, very hard for the customer not to answer one of those. Or actually, I need a courtesy car. Or, collection and delivery would be really good. That enables you to, again, assumptively go into this next stage. The next available day would be either next Wednesday or would Thursday be better for you? By just going into the next available date is going to be next Wednesday, or would Thursday be better for you? You're asking the customer to decide not if they want to book it in, but when do they want to bring it in. And you'll be amazed how often the customer's mind straight away thinks, well, Wednesday's not going to suit. I've got to pick the kids up from school. I've got to go to XYZ. Thursday will be better. And they'll tend to spit out Thursday or Wednesday without even thinking sometimes. That's the assumptive route. Don't be afraid of going down the assumptive route. They phoned up wanting the price of a service or to book it in. Let's just give them what they want. Now, if there is a loan car or a courtesy car being involved, now's my time. I'm going to talk about the insurance requirements. Oh, and please don't say we're going to charge £10 or $20 or €15 for a loan car. That's not that. Tell them there's a £10 charge for the insurance. Unless you want to arrange your own insurance, Mr. Customer. Because that's what the charge is actually for. You see, by charging for a loan car, it sounds like we're just trying to make more profit. All we're doing is it's covering the insurance on the car. And by saying you can arrange your own insurance if you want to, it gives the customer the option to do that. Now we've made the booking, what we need to do is get all the other details from the customer. Again, I'm talking about the fresh customer that's phoned in. The customer's full name, their address, their home phone number, their work phone number, their mobile number. And of course, we want their email address. But don't just say, can I take your email address? What are the possible answers? Yes, no, maybe. Or in fact, halfway through giving an email address, they might decide, do I want a car dealership to have my email address? No, I'll change it halfway through. So just turn around and give the customer the reason why we need that email address. The obvious reason is, great, let me send it through a confirmation of that. What's your best email address to send it through to? Is it a work or a private one? And that address is... That does two things. We need to send a confirmation through. It's professional. But by saying, what's the best email address to send it to? Is it work or a private one? Most people will just say, well, work or private. You don't care. You've got the address to send the details through to. Now, you made the booking. We just need to confirm it so the customer turns up at the time we want them to, and also with all the bits and pieces to make sure we can do our job properly for them. Now, do you have a pen handy? Yeah, just to confirm, Mr. Jones, that's for next Monday, the 18th of July. Now, just to let you know, we have 3 different booking slots for you. We have between 8 and 8:30, 8:30 and 9, and 9 to 9:30. Now, please bear in mind, from 8 to 8:30 is our busiest time. So you might be slightly delayed for work if you want to pop in at that time. So if you can be just a touch flexible, I'd really recommend going for the 9 to 9:30 slot. So which one suits you best? Now what I'm attempting to do there is avoid the power hour. You know what it's like in a dealership. Everyone drops their car off in the morning all at the same time. And you've got a queue of people that you're trying to get to, and they're getting frustrated because they're trying to get to work. And that's right at the time that you're trying to set the agenda and put in all your upselling stuff. By doing this, firstly, I know that not every customer is going to turn up at the time you ask them to do. But if you try and spread it out, it gives you more time to sell. You see, effective upselling starts now. Okay, that's what I'm attempting to do with that one. Now, all we need to do is confirm all the bits and pieces you need a customer to bring with them. But it might also be an opportunity for you to sow the seeds on brake fluids or maybe an air conditioning service. Now, some of the dealerships you're working in will say, no, let's do that later on in the process. So you take the lead from your service manager on that one. I sometimes like to sow the seeds now, maybe like this. Could you also ensure that you bring your service books for us just to update, your locking wheel nuts and also both sets of keys? Finally, I'd also like to make you aware that in addition to the routine service, our manufacturer also recommends a brake fluid change. Now the reason for the change is that brake fluid is glycol based and it starts absorbing moisture from the moment it's put into the system. Now that problem is definitely accelerated in wet countries such as the UK. Now, as the moisture increases, it causes a sharp drop in the fluid's boiling temperature, and that increases the danger of brake failure. Now, the price of that work is normally $89.95. However, the good news is, because it's in getting a service as well, we can do it as part of that service for $59.95. I think you agree it makes sense for us to do that at the same time, doesn't it? Now remember to take the lead from your service manager on when is the right time to talk about the brake fluid. Some of your manufacturers just include it as part of the service. Some people want to do it early on in the booking. You might have a booking company that does it for you and they might do it. Or you might prefer to do it later on and get Dave, your technician, to recommend it. Take their lead on it. I personally do like to do it at that point, so I'm spreading out the things I need to sell to a customer. So all we need to do now is just thank the customer for their booking. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, for your booking on that. I look forward to seeing you next Monday. Hi guys, now we need to deal with introducing the vehicle health check to the customer. When do you introduce your vehicle health check? All too often, it's introduced far too late. The first time a customer heard that we've done a vehicle health check is when we're putting the phone call into the customer. "Ah, sir, we found on your car X, Y, and Z." But when you think that through, you're no different to any cold call that a customer's going to get. How do you deal with cold call? Actually, in the UK at the moment, we have this PPI claim backs. Every second call's about, well, you missold PPI insurance, and it's really, really annoying. You're going to be no different because you are on the phone asking the customer for money without them knowing about it. I believe we need to set the agenda for the vehicle health check early on in the process. Otherwise, people see through it as just being a sales ploy. So, remember back to the booking. I've said we're going to complete a free health check on the car. Oh, by the way, how much do we charge for the free health check? No, that isn't a trick question. Please tell the customer it's a free health check on the car. It is definitely free. Otherwise, people say, oh, I don't want that. It always amazes me. You get customers sometimes say, how much does that free health check cost? No, tell them it's a free health check. But also, when they bring the car in the morning, try and avoid the power hour by spreading the appointments out if you can. And then set the agenda. Hey, Mr. Customer, while your car is here today, Dave is going to be your technician. Oh, by the way, I know at that point you may not know if Dave is going to be the technician, okay? But if you do, tell the customer. Use Dave's name as credibility. Listen, while your car's in today, Dave's going to be doing the service in your car. He's going to carry out a free health check, which is going to look like this. Now, at this stage there, I would personally love to show him a copy of the vehicle health check. Now, you can't always do it. Some dealerships, they have it up on the wall. You might have some point of sale materials. If you can't do that, that's fine. Your manufacturer may not allow that. I like to have one underneath the desk, which has been laminated. Dave's going to carry out a free health check and he's going to look at all these different items on your car. It's going to have 3 different colours on it. If it's green, that means it's good to go. If it's amber, it's something that's going to require attention before your next service. Now, if it's red, it's something that's going to require immediate attention. In fact, if your car was going for an MOT or an NCT test or a roadworthy, it might even be a failure on that test. But listen, what I'll do is when Dave's done that on your car, I'll pop a call into you to let you know about the health of your car. Now, what's the best number to get you on today? Is it a home or a work one? Now, notice how I've just told him we're going to do the free health check. And what's the best number to get you on, home or work? Tell you something else I do. So often we can't get the upsell because we don't get through to the customer until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And it's far too late to get the tyres in from your tyre supplier. So try and say, hey, listen, what's the best number to call you on this morning, home or work? Put a time frame in to when you're going to call them. Now, again, don't pin yourself down to an actual time. We'll always miss that. Just say, hey, this morning, what's the best number to contact you on? Is it home or work? And that number is... Great. What I'll do is I'll pop a call into you when Dave's completed that. And then go through all the other bits and pieces you need to. The insurance loan forms, get them to okay, everything you need on that one there. So that's how we would set the agenda. Make sure you do that with every single customer before you try any sort of upselling. Sow the seeds so you can reap the benefits later on.
That just leaves me to say that all details of this episode and other episodes on the selling in the motor trade can be found on our website, simcotraining.co.uk. Go there to get a copy of our book, Words That Sell Cars. Go there to sign up to a free trial of our Sales Fitness online sales training program. Easiest way to get hold of me is Simon Bowkett through LinkedIn.